Hello and welcome. We are live with Fadi Ghandour. Fadi is the godfather of entrepreneurship across the entire region, Middle East and North Africa. He's also the godfather in a second context, social projects. If you have a bleeding heart, dreaming and wishing, I would love to meet Fadi. Fadi, welcome.
Thank you very much, Yemi. Good to be here.
Thank you. Now, can you just please, because you need no introduction, but if you can just please share with us a bit about what you do.
This is my second career. I run Wanda Capital, which is a venture capital fund that focuses on technology investments in the Arab world, early stage tech companies. This is a happening area. It's investing in future companies in the digital space. I spent 30 years in the logistics business, running a company called Aramex, which went public a while back, and I left and started this fund now.
Very modest. All right, so you know how this runs. You wanted to add something, Fadi?
No. I think this sums it up. I mean, I do many other things, but we can talk about that as we continue the discussion today.
Fantastic, thank you. You know how this works. Please post a question in the feed, and Fadi will respond. If you ask no questions, then I'm just going to have some quality time with Fadi.
Good, and it's good to have quality time.
Thank you. So any questions? So Fadi, one of the things you've done recently is here at the World Economic Forum, you were on the selection committee of something called the 100 Startups. Can you tell us what that is?
So it's the 100 startups that are involved in the fourth industrial revolution that the forum has been engaged with over the recent past. So it's about startups in the Arab world that are in the digital space, going out, building businesses that are either addressing new challenges, solving old problems, disrupting incumbent industries. So it's bringing the youth, and not necessarily always the youth, so the young companies to come and participate in this important event that happens every 2 years here in Jordan. So the idea is that we want to highlight the future. So WEF is about mostly government officials, it's about big corporations, it's about established corporations, it tells stories of incumbents. So we are bringing in the youth, and that's why I'm here. I was part of the process of selecting these guys, and because I'm engaged in that space, and we're just telling, I think, a different story that is rarely told about the Arab world, that there is a generation that is empowered, that has passion, that wants to build a future for themselves, and that's why we have 100 Arab startups here.
Fantastic. Thank you. Now, can you share, when did entrepreneurship come to you? Is this something you always knew you were going to do?
Well, apparently. So I'm, you never know. I mean, it's when you have either a passion or an idea, or a friend shares an idea and says, why don't we do this? And you jump in it, and not knowing exactly the challenges that you might be facing, and then iterate and change and start facing the challenges of markets and clients and bureaucracies. But I launched my business, I was 23 years old. So
wow.
if you want to go
wow.
to the beginnings, I was a young, ignorant, and mostly like most entrepreneurs who think they want to change the world. So you think everything is possible until you face the hurdles, and then you say, okay, I'm going to break those hurdles and keep going until it happens.
And you still have that drive right now?
Luckily, luckily I keep myself in shape. I exercise a lot so that I keep my brain and my body in shape, so that I face the massive exponential change because of technology that is happening in the Arab world and in the world in general. So if I don't do that, then I am effectively losing touch. So yes.
All right, fantastic. We're going to go now deeper into entrepreneurship. I want to ask you, you talked about this drive and
right.
you almost define entrepreneurship. Is entrepreneurship popular in the region? Is this something?
Yeah, but I don't think it's about popular. I think people go out and want to build a future for themselves. They want to generate wealth. They want to earn an income. The traditional job creators in the region, government or big corporations, are no longer able to do that. So when you graduate from college, or even if you're an employee and feel you have something you want to do, you are going to leave because you need to earn a living.
Okay.
You need to build a family, and you have ambitions, or you have a burning issue in you that gets you to say, I want to go out and solve it. And so is it popular? I think it's within the range of what's happening everywhere else in the world. I don't think we need to say that there are things that are different in this region than the rest of the world. Youth is youth. This current generation is completely empowered because of technology, because of mobility,
yes,
because of smartphones,
yes,
and they all look at role models globally. They all look at see what's happening in Silicon Valley, what's happening in Asia, what's happening in China, and say, we can do it here, and we're suing.
You're getting lots of love. You didn't see the hearts flowing by.
Yeah, and I love them back. I mean, I'm saying things that I'm telling their story. This is not my. I'm a has-been. I'm just telling other people's stories because they're the future.
All right. I want to give the first question to Pawan. And you can post questions in the feed, and Fadi will comment, respond.
Happy.
He's very frank. I've never seen him to pull punches.
I'll say it as it is, as at least as I know it.
Amazing. All right, let's go.
Shoot.
Pawan has the first question. Why is no one focusing to develop agriculture in the Arab world?
Well, the Arab world, the issue with the Arab world is there are certain areas, obviously, in probably in North Africa, in Sudan, in other areas in the region that are fertile. The region is mostly, and you're right to question, has a huge part of it that's desert. So the issue of water, availability of water, cost of water, it's mostly desalination. And we are big importers. So there needs to be more innovation. I agree with you. There needs to be more innovation around agri-tech, so that we are able to feed ourselves rather than depend on importing. So it's a big strategic challenge. I think the governments, I think many people that are concerned about these issues for food security in the region are trying to address this issue. I don't have a specific answer around it, but I think that's actually my answer would be it's a great opportunity for people to do that. I think we need to tap into countries that have addressed the challenge of irrigation or agriculture in arid lands, and we need to see how others have done it to bring that innovation in here. I think there are, I've seen some, there's definitely some in Jordan, there are some in the UAE, there's definitely a lot in Saudi Arabia where they are trying to find ways of doing this, but there isn't much entrepreneurship in that space. It's the big organizations that are going out and doing it. So it's somewhere that needs to be looked at and disrupted, I think.
All right, thank you. Next question goes to Antonella. What do you believe is the most important skill for a startup founder?
I think the most important skill for a startup founder, there are several skills. You can't say one. One is the ability to build a team. You cannot build a company alone. You need to know how to build a team, how to attract people to work with you, how to work with your co-founder. You need to understand your markets very well. You need to understand your clients very well. And you need to understand how to scale the business. So it's not only good enough to have an idea and have passion about it. You need to translate that passion into execution. How do you actually take that idea and put that passion in it and take it to actual implementation? That's what is required, and that requires a team. It cannot be done by one person.
Fantastic, thank you. All right, we have a comment from Ashan. I'd love you to comment. Ashan says, I think in the MENA region, entrepreneurship should be our top priority at the moment.
We're in total agreement, and that's the story of my life. It's the story of my current life. I call for governments, for regulators, for corporates, for anyone that is willing to listen, that if you don't pay attention to entrepreneurship, you are letting down the current generation and future generations. the biggest challenge in the MENA region is job creation and unemployment. And the way to solve them, in my view, is to unleash the power of entrepreneurship so that this young generation is coming out to the markets, building businesses and employing. And when you employ, you have a productive future generation that feels they're part and parcel of society. And when you're part and parcel of society, there is stability in society, there's affluence, there's well-being, and then challenges of insecurity, radicalization will diminish. Because when you have a future, when you build a family, you want stability and you want to continue to have that stability. And that's at the core of the story today. So when you talk about radicalization, you talk security in many cases. But I'm saying the way to solve radicalization in the region is through unleashing the entrepreneurial spirit and entrepreneurial power of this young generation.
All right, that's very powerful. Thank you. We are live with Fadi Ghandour. We're talking about entrepreneurship. Fadi is the godfather of entrepreneurship across the region. He's also the godfather of social projects.
You're making me very old.
Well, godfather in a young way and in a very positive way.
You have to say that all the time.
All right, godfather in a positive way. Now, we're going to talk about social projects too in the second half. Right now, we're focused on entrepreneurship. And if you know anybody who would love either part of this conversation, please share the feed and let's get some more love on here. Now, Asiya gets the next question, and if you want your question asked, please post in the feed. Asiya would like to know, building off what you just said about the importance of entrepreneurship, even to tackle radicalization. Asiya would like to know, what incentives can countries install to encourage more entrepreneurship and more startups?
I think countries, or we should say governments, and the powerful corporations and the private sector need to do 2 or 3 things that entrepreneurs tell us about all the time. One is invest. So access to capital, access to finance is critical. If you don't invest in these young startups, they're not going to make it. It's like fuel. If a car does not have fuel, it's not going to run. Yeah. If you don't eat as a human being, you're not going to be able to live healthily. And it's the same thing with startups. They need to have capital and equity invested in them, or debt for that matter. So one is equity. Number 2, the regulatory environment. You need to be able to have the ability to register a company very quickly. You need to have bankruptcy laws where you can, if you don't make it, because many startups don't make it, you need to be able to exit your business without going to jail or facing really serious consequences. And you need to be able to build your business at a low cost in the country that you are operating. And you need to have the infrastructure. So broadband is at the core of the startups of the future, because the startups of the future are about information and is about digital infrastructure, and that digital infrastructure needs to be available at a low cost so that these guys can go out and build their businesses, even if they do it out of home, without that big hurdle of doing that. So, and private sector companies can actually go out and start investing, angel investing, make some of your money available for these guys, $10,000, $15,000, $50,000. You will make money and you will make returns, but you're also betting on the future. So, if you are in a big business, an established business, you need stability in your markets. And stability in your markets meaning that you are going to invest in people and invest in stability so that you can get your own, if you're even selfish about it. A stable market actually gets you to have more business. And I think that combination of private sector and government coming together is at the core of how you can enable entrepreneurs in the region. Or anywhere else in the world. I mean, look at Silicon Valley. It's the combination of universities, education, venture capital, startups. They all come together and say, the sky is the limit, and go out and build things.
Fantastic, thank you. And so maybe on that point, someone in the feed asked a question. Sorry, I've missed your question, but I give you the credit. Is there anything specific about entrepreneurs in the Arab world that's different from anywhere else?
They look like everyone else. So. An entrepreneur is an entrepreneur, a government official is a government official. They all look the same, they all act the same, and they are all doing similar things in different markets. So they are customizing, they're looking at local issues and adapting a global solution to a local issue, or creating our own issues that we haven't seen globally, like fintech, like healthcare. We have our own internal issues. So it's the same. So don't ever assume that an entrepreneur is going to look differently. One difference is that the hurdles of market creation and market access in the region are a bit big. So Arab entrepreneurs are probably one of the most tenacious entrepreneurs in the world, because they have to conquer lots of hurdles.
Fantastic, thank you. And please keep the questions coming. You're getting a lot of love. So please keep the questions coming.
I love them back.
Fantastic. That last question, the credit goes to Kareem. Thank you, Kareem. The next question goes to Luigi. Luigi would like to know, do you think that we're going to face more opportunities in a future populated by the robot worker?
Look, I mean, if you had asked somebody how was the car going to affect the world of horses 120 years ago, he might have said, we're not going to be able to. Why do we pave roads? Why do we do stuff? Technology enables. Robots is a challenge. Robotics is a challenge. Artificial intelligence is a huge challenge. There is an ethical issue that we need to think about, because for the first time, probably computers are able to think and take knowledge workers out of the job. It used to be that the blue collar work was affected by the machine age, the fourth industrial revolution, which is at the core of the WEF story, and Professor Schwab's book about it is a challenge. We need to look at it. Even Silicon Valley today tells you we need to be worried about it. But I don't know. I don't have enough information. I don't think anybody has enough information to tell you what's going to transform. If robots are going to take parts of our jobs, then maybe we need to think about what will we do in the time that we have available from not doing certain jobs, so that we do other jobs. I don't know. I don't have the answer, but I'm not going to be thinking negatively about it. We need to embrace it, and we will suffer on the short run, but you will see a different world on the long run. Luckily, maybe at my age now, I don't get to see what is going to happen in the next way around, but it's certainly a challenge and a very good question.
Fantastic, thank you so much. We have many great questions. The next one goes to Petra. Petra would like to know, are there any women entrepreneurs in the Arab world and the MENA region that can be role models?
Oh, absolutely. There is, from the 100 entrepreneurs that we brought in here today, maybe 15% or 20% of them are Arab entrepreneurs. They're building fantastic companies. Ula Dodin, for instance, is building a Bitcoin company called BitOasis, a fantastic company at the forefront, again, of technology, cryptocurrencies. People thought, the Arabs or regulators will not embrace cryptocurrencies, but suddenly they're all talking to her, and she is really going exponential. You have Joy Ajlouni, who's building Fetcher, which is a logistics company in the digital space. You have Muna Ataya building Mom's World, which is an e-commerce company that sells baby and mother products online. They're all accelerating, they're all raising money, they're all building businesses, and they're from all over the region. So yes, absolutely, women entrepreneurs are here. Don't believe everything they say to you about the empowerment of women in the region. Yes, we have challenges, but we have women breaking barriers.
Amazing, fantastic. Thank you so much. We have great questions. Please keep the questions coming in. We are live with Fadi Ghandour. He is the godfather, in a positive way, for entrepreneurs across the region. He's also the godfather of social projects. And we're going to switch shortly to social projects. If you have any more questions or comments, Fadi is giving frank and live responses.
Let me comment on this godfather, so that I'm fair to the world out there in the social world. There are plenty of people that have gone out and built social projects on the ground. I happen to be from maybe one of the early people from the private sector that has gone out and become an activist in the social entrepreneurship world. But there are people like Abdul Latif Jamil in Saudi Arabia, who has been extremely active on the ground long before I did. There is a whole generation of people that were empowering youth and doing social impact on the ground across the Arab world. So I'm honored that you call me godfather, but I am just part of a group of people that has been going out there and doing stuff.
All right, fantastic. It's very humble, as always. All right, Shubhang, you get the next question. Shubhang would like to know, how do you convince governments that startups can actually have a positive impact on development?
Look, it doesn't take much now. I think governments are all understanding that. The challenge with government, my friend, is how do you get them to go to action? Because if you hear any government official today, he's going to talk about the importance of entrepreneurship, and entrepreneurship is a trend. Everybody loves entrepreneurs. My question to government is take it to action, make it happen. Make business easy to be established. There has been lots of research about it. Lots of consultants come and give advice, and it's there. The solutions are clear. Countries in emerging markets, people like Singapore, people like Hong Kong, people like Malaysia. If we don't want to take the West as our role model, let's talk about the East. And they have done it. So we government can actually act. You just need to get it to do it, and do it fast.
Fantastic. All right, I'd love us to switch now, if we can, to social projects.
Yes.
Now, I've heard time and time again, if you have a good cause, you have to speak to Fadi. Now, the question, what is it? Why do you listen?
It's a similar theme in my life. You know, I think I was blessed to have been successful. I had a lot of people that helped me, family and friends and strangers even. And I feel that my knowledge, my capacity, my capability needs to be channeled in places that I'm passionate about. I'm passionate about youth, and I know their challenges, and part of them is supporting social enterprise. And I'm one that, just like I invest in technology, I will invest in social entrepreneurs, because I believe they have impact on the ground. They are solving social problems. Not everything is about financial returns. It's about social returns. It's about social impact. Even on the micro level, on the neighborhood level, if somebody is going out and solving that issue and require a little bit of a push, a little bit of an investment, a little bit of an engagement, then, you know, I'm capable, so why not make it available? It's a simple formula. You know, if you can, you need to go. And I'm passionate about it, and that's why some people, I mean, not everyone, some people knock on my door, and I have an open door. I will answer emails. Sometimes it takes me time. I will meet everyone that wants to meet me, and I will try to actually participate in that process if I am capable of actually being of use for that entrepreneur that's talking to me.
That is amazing. We have a couple more minutes. If you have a question about social projects, social entrepreneurship, post it. Fadi will respond. The next question goes to Harshil. Tough question, I think, or not always obvious. Harshil wants to know, what's the argument to use technology when we have overpopulation and high unemployment rates?
Fantastic question. And I also ask the same question. So when people talk about driverless cars, I say, you know, why driverless cars? I mean, if, you know, why take away, I love driving, so, and people earn a living out of driving. Why do we need to why do we need to get out of or create driverless cars and replace millions of jobs? I don't know. I mean, that's a serious ethical issue that we need to think about. And you know, I don't necessarily have an answer for that, but there are certain technological advancements that are required in health, in agriculture, in transportation. Yes, I mean, you need to embrace that, but I'm not in disagreement that some of the things that we do make us redundant. I think there's a craziness about how we take away our own some of our own wealth creation by replacing machines with human beings with machines. So it's worrying.
Fantastic. Harshil, Fadi just argued both sides very eloquently. Thank you. Fadi, I'm going to come to you to ask you to leave us with some thoughts to close. But since you can do two things at the same time, I'm going to ask you a question just to round off on social projects.
Right.
We kicked off and you said agriculture is one of those areas that needs more entrepreneurship and disruption.
Right.
in the social space, what are a couple of areas that you would like to see more disruption, more innovation in the social space?
In the social space, at least in the areas I am interested in, one is education. I think education is in desperate need of disruption, and this is where technology comes. So this is where technology is very positive, because if universities are not going to change, if schools are not going to change, then technology makes knowledge available very easily. So people will pull knowledge out of the internet today and get to know and be empowered with that knowledge without an intermediary. So education, social engagement and social entrepreneurship in education, I am extremely passionate about. And I think, I leave that because there's nothing more powerful than having the ability to access knowledge easily and at a low cost and with your choice, not somebody telling you what you need to learn. You go out and pull that knowledge yourself.
Yeah. All right, very powerful. I think, Fadi, the floor is yours to please leave us with some closing thoughts.
I'm honored that you hosted me. It gets me the chance to talk and listen and answer the questions of people that are passionate about their future and are concerned about their future. My only message is, when we talk entrepreneurship, it's about doing. It's going out and doing. And we talk about hurdles, and yes, there are hurdles, yes, there are challenges, but you are breaking them and keep doing it. People will listen to you. You will be able to make an impact on the ground.
Thank you so much. We've been live with Fadi Ghandour, the chairman of WAMDA Capital. We know him as the Godfather in a very positive way. If you know anybody who'd love to hear his messages, please share this feed and stay with us. We'll be back soon. Thank you.
Thank you very much.